Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing really well. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. I do a lot of study, career, and personal finance related videos here on my channel. I do also have an Instagram page as well, successbysanjna, so be sure to follow me on there as well. So, as you can tell by the title of today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I manage my money. How I manage my money, particularly when I get paid, which accounts I have, where do I put the money, and towards the end of the video, I will be talking about some of my financial goals and why I do what I do. So if you are interested, then please keep watching. And if you do enjoy the content, then please do give this video a thumbs up by hitting the like button down below. I would really appreciate that from you guys. Alrighty, now let's begin. Okay, so a few videos ago, I did talk about my 5 streams of income and what they are and how I really get paid. So obviously taking those income streams, I'm going to talk about how I manage my money in terms of, when the money comes in, which account it goes to, and how do I sort of, track and monitor where the money is sitting and what it's doing for me. So let's talk about the 5 streams of income that I've got. So obviously the first one is my 9-to-5 job. I've got obviously affiliate marketing. I've got obviously AdSense as well, which is YouTube revenue. And then I've got sponsorships and collaborations. And my 5th source of income is my investment properties, the rent I receive, or the positive cash flow that I earn from those properties. So those are the 5 streams of income that I receive. Okay, now let's move on to talking about some of the bank accounts that I do have. So the first bank account that I have is my transaction banking account. This account is essentially where all of my income does come through, except for the investment properties. That I've got separate and comes into an offset account, but we'll talk a little bit about that later on. So I've got my main account, which is my transaction account. I believe some people in America or the UK call it a checking account. I'm not entirely sure. That's the first account that I've got, transaction account. Second, with the same bank, I've got a credit card as well. This credit card is just for me to spend on things, if I've not budgeted well in my cycle and I've missed some sort of, payments. So this is what this credit card is used for. Any big purchases, any unexpected purchases, which is very rare. Okay, now moving on to the different banks. So I do have 2 loan accounts. The reason they're 2 and not 3, obviously I've mentioned I've got 3 investment properties, but I've got 2 loan accounts because one of the properties is a duplex. So there's 2 houses and that loan is combined. And with those 2 loan accounts, I've obviously got 2 offset accounts as well, which is also just a transaction account as well. And also with that bank, I've got a savings account as well. And then obviously I've got my super as well, which is with a different bank. Now, 3 different banks that I use just because I don't want my money just in the same organization. I think it just helps with, budgeting and not being able to use your money as well. If you're using just, one constant bank account, it's very easy for you to sort of, get trapped and, be like, oh, I've got money here, I can just spend it. So I like keeping it in different apps because I can't be bothered always accessing those different apps. And I like only using one, which is my main one, my transaction account. Okay, now let's talk about what happens when I get paid. Where does all of the money actually go? So obviously bulk of my payments or bulk of my income does come through into my transaction account. This has been set up from the beginning. I just like this transaction account and it just works for me. I haven't changed it for honestly like maybe 15 years, ever since I've sort of had a bank account. So I'm also going to be talking in fortnightly terms because this is when I do get paid for my 9-to-5 job. That 9-to-5 money does go into my transaction account, as I said, and then what I do from that point onwards is that once that money is in there, because my credit card is linked to that that bank, is from that same bank, I can actually see if I've spent anything on my credit card, and this is when I go ahead and pay off that credit card in full because I don't like having to pay interest. I think that's a waste of money, and if I've got the money, I'd rather just pay it off instead of having it, sitting there waiting to be paid off. So that's the first thing I do after getting paid. I just check if I've used my credit card. Honestly, this is very, very rare. As I said, this only happens when I don't budget well and there's an unexpected expense or purchase that I do make. Secondly, once I've paid off my credit card, if I need to, then I will go ahead and pay for my non-direct debit payments. So these are payments like my rent and my utilities. So like my water bill, electricity, things like that. So I go ahead and pay these off because we do get charged for them monthly, and I'd rather just pay that, upfront or whenever I do get paid. Now, after I've done this, I try to keep in this transaction account, once I've obviously paid for my credit card and I've paid for any non-direct debits, I like keeping some money in there because this is for all of the direct debits that I've got linked to this bank account. And these direct debits include, my phone bill, my insurance, and then I've obviously got my groceries, my gym, and any other miscellaneous things that, do come out. Obviously, these aren't coming out on a fortnightly basis. Some of them are monthly. So I try to just keep, $200 in there just because I do want to have, some money in there that, in case something does come out, I will have enough money there and my bank won't, be overdrawn. And yeah, it's never sort of been overdrawn because I do always have enough money there because these payments that are coming out are monthly. And if I'm putting that $200 in, fortnightly, then I will always have enough money in this account. And whatever is left over, I'm not too fussed. I do just leave it in there or I transfer it away, which I will talk about a little bit later. Okay, now with the rest of this money, I then put aside or I transfer into my offset accounts, which are with another bank. I put this in because my loan repayments have to come out. So I transfer this amount. I know exactly what it is for each month because I have fixed my investment loans for 1 year. So I know exactly, the amount that is going to come out. So these two amounts I do transfer into the offset account. So what I've done with the offset account is that I've actually linked both of my loans to the one offset account because I don't want two different accounts. Even though the account is still sitting there, I don't think I can close it. Stick to one offset account which I use regularly, and both of the repayments goes out of that offset account. And obviously, just to mention as well, I only put in what I need because obviously my loans are not variable anymore. They're not going to be fluctuating as the interest rates fluctuate, and I know exactly what's going to go in there. Obviously, when it was variable, my loans, I would have as much money go into my offset account to offset the interest for that month, because this is obviously a great thing to do. So you obviously pay less interest, but because I'm fixed now, that doesn't really matter. I don't need to pump money into that offset account. Now, if you move on to my savings account, because this is obviously with the other bank as well, my savings account technically allows me to earn bonus interest of about 3% if in my offset account I have made 5 withdrawals in that month, and I also increase the balance in my savings account by any amount, I get a bonus interest rate of about 3%. So I like taking advantage of this. It's something that I can easily do. So what I also like doing is transferring a little bit extra into my offset accounts because I can then use that as, purchases. If I'm purchasing online, if I'm going shopping or whatever it is, I can also make purchases from there. And 5 purchases a month is not hard. So I like taking advantage of that because it's not really, costing me anything. I know you may not see 3%, going around in this day and age, but that's because I obviously work at a bank, so I do have employee banking benefits, and that's why it is a little bit higher than the standard rate. And then obviously, whatever money I've got left over, I do put it into my savings account. And the reason I am saving at the moment is because I cannot purchase any more properties given my serviceability. The only way that I can purchase more properties this year is if my income goes up significantly. Other than that, I'm going to be sort of strapped in and bound by, those rules, and I can't purchase any more properties unless I do get a massive pay rise, which I don't think is going to happen. Okay, so that's a little bit about, where my money goes when I do get paid. Obviously, with all forms of income, that does come through my other bank account, which is, the transaction bank account, my main one. And then obviously all the rent that I do receive for the properties comes into that offset. So that does technically sort of cancel itself out. But just, given the timings when things may come out, I don't want to be overdrawn. So I still do put my money into that offset account. If there's any remainders or anything left at the end of the month, then obviously I do sort of adjust that and I put the rest into my savings. So that's a little bit about, where the sort of cash flows for me and how I manage my money. Now I'm going to be talking about my financial goals and why I do, what I'm doing and what I have decided to do with my savings. So before we continue, if you are enjoying this video, then please give this video a thumbs up by hitting the like button down below. I would really appreciate it if you could do that. Now, in terms of my goals and why I do what I do in terms of managing my money, the first thing that I like doing is to make sure that I have an emergency fund. An emergency fund for me is about $10,000. That's how much I really like to have in my bank account, no more than that. So what I plan to do with the rest of the money, just because I don't want it to just be sitting there and just accumulating only 3% of interest a year, that's really not enough for me. I feel like there's so many other better investment options that you do have out there, which you can obviously, take up. Obviously, I can't purchase an investment property, so I have resorted to investing into cryptocurrency just because the returns are insanely high in cryptocurrency. Obviously, it's not for everyone, and I totally get that, but if you've done your research and you get what I'm trying to, get at, then you would obviously see the benefits as well. And a lot of you guys have asked me as well why I don't invest in shares. The reason I don't invest in shares, it's something that hasn't really interested me, and I just feel that the returns aren't as great as compared to cryptocurrency. Of course, cryptocurrency is volatile and it's obviously very risky. The returns on shares is about 10% annual return. Whereas if you compare it to cryptocurrency, the returns are honestly insane. If we just compare the price of Bitcoin in January 2020 compared to January 2021, the return is about 280%, which is ridiculous. It's insane. And then if we compare it from, March 2020 to March, obviously this year, 2021, the return is 837%, which just blows my mind. Of course, you need to be educated in this space. You need to know what you're doing because you're putting your money out there. You obviously have to, know what you're doing with that money, research, study, listen to people, and then that's when you can get the biggest sort of return. That's something that I'm doing with my money. So I try to keep an emergency fund, and the rest I am putting away into cryptocurrency because that is something that really aligns with my strategy, and I like seeing quick results as well. Obviously, there is going to be a crash, but that's not happening at this point, and if that was to happen, I would be okay with, losing a little bit of money and then obviously selling it off. But we can talk a little bit more about cryptocurrency in other videos. If you would like to see more videos on cryptocurrency, then like this video. I have also recently changed my exchange as well that I do trade with. I used to be trading with Independent Reserve, but I have now changed to swyftx just because there are more coins available, and I am looking at altcoins, and the variety or the availability of those coins in Independent Reserve just wasn't there. So I have switched over to swyftx. If you are interested, I do have a referral code for you. So if you do sign up with my link, I will leave it down below. You will get $10 worth of Bitcoin upon your verification, and verification does not take long at all. So check out the link below if you are interested. You'll be able to get yourself $10 worth of Bitcoin. So that is it, guys. That's a little bit about how I manage my money and the cash flow and how it works for me, where I allocate funds. If you guys find these videos informative, then definitely let me know, because I love sharing, personal finance here on my channel. So do let me know what ideas you have. But other than that, guys, that's the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Thanks, guys.